Yo, what is up, everybody? It's your boy JV and Kendrick here on Power to the People podcast, where we give the power of the freedom of speech back to the people. And today we have Lani Thompson here to talk about episode 5. Crazy episode. Is actually one of our most views episode right now. I think we have close to 70 views on it. So I'm super excited where this is gonna go. We're kind of just gonna jump in. Lani, you start wherever you feel needed, and we'll just go from there. So, like, how did you feel? Some of the stuff that you listened to, like, I'm really curious on how you feel about everything.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. So I took a listen to this yesterday. My friend Taylor actually sent this to me. And I took a listen to it. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disturbed, a little disturbing. Because I felt like it was there were opinions that sounded like they were trying to be facts, and I understand that there are different viewpoints, especially right now with everything that is going on. Mm-hmm. But I don't feel that this can be covered with political opinions anymore. I don't think I think it's now a question of where your morals lie, to be completely honest. Yeah.
Okay, and when you say like it can't be covered, what do you mean by like it? Like, you mean your standards on when it comes to certain things? Like, what do you mean by that?
So what was touched upon yesterday was the fact that, and I hear this a lot from people who do support Trump, in particular, is, why can't I be a Trump supporter and people not view me as racist, homophobic, et cetera, et cetera? And I've come to kind of the conclusion, and a lot of people in not only the Black community, but in America in general, is that you may not be racist as a Trump supporter. You may not be homophobic. You may be a great person, but you just might be conservative, and Trump kind of aligns with your views a little better. But at this point, him being racist, him being homophobic, him being xenophobic, him being misogynistic and sexist, him having all those qualities as a lawmaker is not a deal breaker for you, which disturbs me, because if a regular Joe Schmo on the street is talking to you, and if a regular person were to say even half the things that Donald Trump has said within these past 4 years, we would all look at them like they're crazy, right? So I don't see why this man gets an exception because he's rich, powerful, and the president.
Okay. And do you feel as though, because we didn't talk about Trump throughout the episode. I don't think we did. I listened to it last night with my friend.
You didn't talk about much. It was just touched upon.
Okay, yeah. So do you feel from that, like, that, I mean, I'm a Trump supporter, that, like, no. I mean, obviously, okay. So what is, I guess, so with that episode, we'll touch on this because I know people were hitting me up a lot about this. I mean, people were I won't say people. I was called a various amount of names, from Uncle Tom to being corrupted by white suburbia, just a whole bunch of stuff. So to me, the goal of the episode and the goal of every episode is just to have people's voices heard, which is why I'm happy you hit me up to have this conversation. So do you feel that when I touched upon the point, I mentioned that Black people are lazy, and when I'll rephrase now, I think some Black people are lazy, not all Black people, because we like to sometimes use our oppression as a crutch. And I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that, racism doesn't exist. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying that a lot of people like to use that and kind of take advantage of it in a sense. So would you agree with that, or would you disagree with that?
I don't think Black people are lazy. I think people in general can be lazy, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't think Black people as a whole are lazy. We're innovators, we're entrepreneurs just like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're go-getters, I've always
Mm-hmm.
felt. And when when you kind of touched upon the fact that Black people were lazy, I was thinking to myself, like what all the things that we have done, all the things that we have created as a people. Why the word lazy?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Mm-hmm.
like I think of how many inventions Black people have created that we still use, that came up from their brains, from them, you know, trying and failing.
Mm-hmm.
How many policies have changed because we've been going out into the streets, we've been we've been telling people, hey, this is what we want. You may not, oh my gosh, we you may have not listened to us,
Mm-hmm.
but we're still going out there even though they don't listen, and we're still fighting for what we want. I don't particularly think that can qualify as lazy.
So, okay. When I stated that, I'll go based off of how I would. You're completely right about that. There's a lot of Black people out there doing a lot of great things, a lot of entrepreneurs that I research, a lot of, inventors. Um, to me, that's a small percentage. And I feel like I won't say that. I feel like the majority, I grew up around a lot of people, especially Black people. I mean, my father's a example. He's better now, but like in the past, it was always, the white man this, the white man that. And a lot of people that was Black people that I was surrounded by was always blaming other people, especially when it came to white people, for stuff that was going on, when really everything starts with you. So that's why when I said that, I was kind of coming from that standpoint, but I understand where you're coming from, and I could see why I was wrong in that sense. But I just wanted to kind of see this, like, everyone's kind of, some people are pointing the finger at other people, when really, if you just kind of look inside yourself and understand that not everything, white people don't oppress Black people in every single thing. Maybe in some things, but they don't hold you back in everything. So I feel like a lot of people use that, or excuse me, I gotta stop saying a lot of people. Some people use that as an excuse, and they don't go after their goals or try to fulfill what their situation is. So I think that's why I said that most importantly. But I can also understand your viewpoint, like I said, and where you're coming from. That I'm nowhere saying that all Black people are lazy, that we're no we don't do anything, that we're useless. I'm not saying that at all. Black people are an amazing group of people, and we've been through a lot so far. And I mean, I'm sure we're still going to go through a lot, and we've pushed through it. I just think that it's the time where we need to stop pointing the finger and start like uplifting ourselves, and start pushing and getting stuff done. Because I mean, for example, our class, I mean, my class, your class, a lot of the Black kids in there, like, we're all doing something productive. Like, we all have dreams, we all have goals, and we all have aspirations. Now, that could be the result. It probably is the result of the community we grew up in. But I think that a lot of more people need to be like that. Because I mean, you see some Black kids that come out of school, they come out of high school, and they don't know what to do with themselves. Like, and whether they can't afford college, whatever the situation is, they kind of just get into this slump of things. And it's not only Black kids, it's a lot of other people too. If you see where I'm coming from. So I feel like, in a sense, I don't know, people just need to stop getting in their heads so much, I guess. I mean, I know it's all over the place. I can't really formulate it or explain it, but that's kind of what I was trying to say. But I mean, I don't know. Is there anything else you thought in the episode that you either disagree with, agree with, or anything like that?
Yeah. So
Okay.
one thing that you guys touched upon more towards the end was
Mm-hmm.
the Black Lives Matter movement, and
Mm-hmm.
how you guys, well, maybe not you, but Anna may have disagreed with the
Mm-hmm.
message of it and what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I find troubling is that uh, a lot of people who have kind of the all lives matter view or don't agree with the Black Lives Matter movement are the people who want to say, let's have a conversation. Okay, let's sit down, let's have a conversation about it. And then somehow come up with a litany of excuses as to why we need to find another route, we need to do something else, and why the message isn't clear. But when we sit down and have this conversation, first of all, at least me personally, I always articulate that Black Lives Matter has never meant only Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it means Black Lives Matter too.
Mm-hmm.
When we say that, it's, I want to be seen as a person. I don't want to be seen as a thug or just the girl over there who can't talk articulately and just comes out being all loud and stuff. That's not fair.
Mm-hmm.
And people say all lives matter. Well, yes, all lives matter, but all lives are not in danger right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I always use this analogy.
Okay.
Let's say your house is burning down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The fire truck does not come to your neighborhood and spray water on every single house. All houses matter.
Yeah.
No, they go to where the fire is.
Okay.
And right now, the Black community is kind of under fire with police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we're not trying to say that all cops are bad. We know all cops are not bad. We got brothers and sisters in uniform right now who would lay down their lives for any of us.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if I go out and let's say I get pulled over and the police officer approaches me, I don't know how he's going to handle it. He or she or they. It's 2020, all inclusive. We don't know how that person is going to handle it. Whether they're going to be intimidated by the color of my skin, and if I have to go reach for my ID, which my wallet is black, so God forbid they think it's a gun.
That's true.
And they start unloading. Whereas a white person or somebody with lighter skin might not have to worry about that. And that's really what we're trying to articulate is, as a police officer, you don't always need to use excessive force for the littlest things because you're scared. And one thing that I was listening to you guys is, if you're scared and you have a gun, you might empty the chamber because you're scared.
I do remember mentioning that. Yes.
Yeah. To me personally, and I might speak for a lot of people, I might speak for nobody at all. You are that scary of a person that you feel the need to unload your gun on somebody, whether they pull out a knife or whatever. You don't need to be a police officer.
That's very true. Yeah.
You do not need to be a police officer. And to be completely honest with you, you don't need to own a gun. You need to get your pepper spray or a taser. Something a little less lethal.
Yeah, I understand.
Because clearly you're not capable of handling that. I understand that tensions are high and you might be scared going into something, but you got to think. And you know what I actually found out? Because I'm a community assistant at my university, or you could call it a RA, residential.
Yeah.
I found out that we actually have more de-escalation training than police. I don't have a gun. I don't have a taser. I don't have any of that. But I'm able to talk to people and say, hey, this is what you need to do. And I don't go into now, make no mistake, I don't go into nearly as many of the dangerous situations as our men and women in arms. I want to put that out there right now. But they're still going and still handling small situations. Traffic ticket, maybe a mental health situation, maybe even breaking up a fight. And that doesn't require that you take your gun out and get hostile with people. It's a connection that you make with people. Because I've noticed if you go into a situation calmly and with understanding and compassion, you're less likely to get a response that could potentially be problematic and that you is threatening.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go in there gun drawn, screaming at somebody for something petty, even if it is a drug, like drugs or something like that, you're going to get a response because they're scared too. Their adrenaline is rushing. Does that not get taken into account as well?
Yeah. I completely understand where you're coming from. I think when we were discussing the Black Lives Matter movement, I think she did actually say this. She said that she supports Black Lives Matter, but what goes on behind the scenes, she doesn't support, because a lot of the money that Black Lives Matter is receiving is not going back towards the Black community. So, I mean, I don't know where because people told me about this too, that they felt like I supported All Lives Matter, which I don't get where that came from, because like we're just having a conversation now.
I never heard you say that, so I was not going to accuse you of that.
Yeah, so I don't know where that came from, but I just think that's what she was trying to say, because she was discussing how a lot of the money that was going to Black Lives Matter, the movement was giving that back to like the Democratic Party and stuff like that. And she did her research on that. Anyone who's listening to this now can fact check it, and I will also look at it too. But that's what she said. So I can understand why people misinterpreted that, but I don't think that's what she meant. I definitely think Black lives do matter. I definitely think that's important, because Asians, Indians, nobody else is getting shot out in the streets like we are. So I definitely think that's a huge thing. I think another huge thing. So I'm guessing you saw the comments of the post, of both that I posted. Did you see any of those?
I've seen a couple.
Okay.
I dabbled. I try to stay out of comments as much as possible, to be completely.
I understand.
It's a little toxic. But if you want to tell me about some of them, maybe if you want my opinion on them or whatever.
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't like doing comments either. I skimmed through a couple of them, and I didn't respond to any comments except for one, I think, maybe. I made that response video to the community, and that was it. My big thing, I felt that a lot of people were addressing me towards this, is that it is cool to go in the comments and talk. I have no problem with that. You guys can talk. But when it comes to accusations and pointing the finger and accusing and being aggressive, I think that's what the problem is, because what is that fixing? It was just simple misunderstanding, I think, and miscommunication in the episode. Some things that were said I get could be offensive to people. I'm not supporting anything. But mistakes happen. Nobody's perfect. She didn't go on there and say the N-word to my face, several times. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the type of person, I don't think stuff like that is that deep. But I'm not discounting people being offended by the certain things she was saying. I completely understand that. But I think it's more important, and I said this, that a lot of people need to stop reacting to situations and start responding. You responded. You DM'd me, you messaged me, we had a conversation, and now you're on here talking. That's the purpose of what I wanted to do. I think it's fantastic that I'm happy this happened, because this is going to be a great example. So a lot of people, I was FaceTimed, I was DM'd multiple messages, people texted me, and it was just all angry. So that's not getting anywhere. We're not. How are we going to fix anything in life if we can't even have simple conversations with people? What this podcast is about, you don't have to accept everything that's going to be on here. You don't even have to listen to it if you don't want to. But my big thing is, how can you understand, and this isn't even big on politics, but we do dabble in politics a little bit on here, is how can you choose a side if you don't know what both sides are about? Going to high school and, the community we were in, everyone was mainly Democrat, and then you had, the small group of Republicans, the 2 or 3 Trump supporters that went to our school, and that's it. And I think, how could you just grow up like that, just supporting one side, and you don't it's too much trust to me. I feel like people trust the government too much. And when really, in my opinion, I don't think a good amount of the people in the government care about the people. The only thing that they care about is where the money's going. And people don't understand that. I mean, do you agree? Do you disagree? How do you feel about that?
I agree. I agree that, and that's where I'm coming from, mainly why I don't understand. I cannot understand for the life of me why people like this man. I have no clue, because he appeals to a demographic of, not gonna lie, the racist underbelly of America. And usually the racist underbelly tends to be the poorer white people, in which I feel America likes to forget about. They like to pin poverty as a minority, Black, Latino, Asian thing. And they scream, oh, we love Donald Trump, we support Donald Trump. Donald Trump don't care about you. Most people in the government don't care about you. They forget about you. They don't even campaign in your area.
Yeah. And
you ride so hard for this man.
Yeah.
And all the people that he backs. Now, I feel the reason that, because you guys touched upon this, why do Black people tend to go Democratic, especially right now, given the racist history of them? Again, the administration that's kind of going on right now is really giving conservatives a bad name. I don't believe that people being conservative automatically equals that they are racist and that they are bad people.
Yeah.
It's just that they have conservative views.
And
why Black people aren't really vibing with their rhetoric right now is because the rhetoric, racism and all that aside, just doesn't make any sense to me. The numbers don't add up. There's no plan. There's no plan going forward in what's going on. Anytime these people are asked the question, what are you going to do about coronavirus? Well, and then changes the subject. Oh, we don't need to wear masks. Science is a myth. Yeah. That's not
around the bush.
I need a plan. I'm not the type of person that likes to beat around the bush. And even, did you watch the vice presidential debate the other day?
I did not. I saw a little bit of the presidential debate, and then I just couldn't, but I did not see the vice presidential debate.
Well, I watched that in full, and I'm watching Mike Pence up there. Now, I don't like him. I don't like his views. I also don't think he's a great person, but I'll give him this. When it comes to politics, he's an adult, unlike his boss. You put Pence on stage, he may interrupt a little bit, but he's not trying to scream over people. You know what I'm saying? But when he was talking, there's just no plan. Yeah. There was just no plan. And I know I can't get with that. Yeah. And I know a lot of Black people most likely can't get on that bandwagon because we've always lived in this realm of uncertainty. What is this person going to potentially do to either help us or harm us? Yeah. And the Democrats, as of right now, it could be a matter of, oh, they're playing the game better, whatever. They have a plan going forward. And not only that, they seem like the party of progression. We want everybody to have a healthcare plan regardless. You can still have your private insurance, of course. But everybody, like, you may not be able to get plastic surgery like Kim Kardashian, but at least you can go get a checkup and not have to pay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Or the fact that we literally got a doomsday clock going on for climate change. Yeah. But people who are running for Democratic offices have a plan to, battle climate change. Hey, we're gonna try to get cleaner energy. We're gonna try to get jobs promoting cleaner energy. Again, the other side seems like it is what it is. Well, they're gonna raise your taxes. Okay, well, what are you going to do? I want to know. I don't care that you think that they're gonna raise our taxes. What are you gonna do for me? And It really does seem, it could all be the act. I don't know. But it's, to
Mm-hmm.
me, as of right now, it seems like the Democratic Party actually cares about what's going on in this
Mm-hmm.
country. And I'm not even going to say Republicans. The Trumpies over there. No, I'm I don't think all Republicans are bad. I don't. I think
Yeah.
Trumpies are bad. And I think all the
Yeah.
Trumpies over here are like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And we're going backwards.
Yeah. So I'll come back to that. I want to come back to that. But so we also touched on the theory of the party switching. I got yelled at about that too. So what I want to ask you is, the school system, all the schools that we go to, most of them are basically government run. The government tells them what they should be teaching and so on. So do you believe that a government run school system is 100% honest with the education that they are giving their students?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Thank you. I'm glad that you say that.
I'll say this.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this. Now I'm not good. I think the math and science portion is pretty legitimate, and the English portion is pretty good. I think it's the history portion of what they're teaching us that is not okay. It is incredibly whitewashed.
Yeah.
And whitewashed to, like, for example, I tell my friends this all the time because I love history. I'm not a history major, but I love history.
Yeah.
When I was little, they used to give us that big old textbook to take home, and I used to just go through it.
Yeah.
And going through it, I always noticed white people, white people, white people, black person with a little caption, maybe a little paragraph, white, white. Well, what does that do? That doesn't say anything for us, because what this country has a horrible habit of doing is trying to erase the ugly history that we have. Our history is horrible, and that's it is what it is. You can't change the past. Yeah. But like the quote says, those who don't learn their history are doomed to repeat it, and that's what we're doing right now. Yeah. I'm fighting for the same thing. We're all fighting for the same thing that our grandparents were fighting for. That's ridiculous. There's no way to cover it up. For example, when people try to argue to me that, the rebel flag is just a matter of my heritage. Your heritage is racist as whatever. It's not. Don't give me it's a battle. Don't give me it's a battle flag. Oh, we were trying to rebel against the Union for our state's rights during the Civil War. Your state right to do what? Yeah. And it's okay to say that my family heritage was wrong. Racism, discrimination, slavery, all of the lynching people in a tree it's wrong. Yeah. I will never if somebody, actually I have a prime example. I don't know did you know Sean Foster at all?
Oh, it sounds familiar. I have to see a face, but it sounds familiar.
He's a friend, and he was a bandmate of mine and his family's from Mississippi. And when he was younger, he would try to tell me those things. Yeah. And in recent years, he realizes that was wrong. And unfortunately, it wasn't because he went to school and realized that. He had to realize that on his own. Yeah. And as a country, we need to wake up and realize it's okay to be wrong. It's because you know what? Germany does it. Yeah. Germany's not perfect still. Yeah. But Germany educates its children on what happened in the Holocaust so it doesn't happen again. The Holocaust was real. And it was a very dark moment in Germany's history. Yeah. But we have to do that here so people understand that why these Confederate statues, why certain things are just not appropriate anymore. Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree with that. I mean, like, you don't really hear about them teaching us about Black Wall Street or anything like that in school. It's raised to the ground.
Yeah, we don't know anything about that. So I definitely do agree with that. And I mean, they pick and choose. I mean, they even fucking rip pages out of the Bible. I don't know who did that specifically, but the Bible that you can buy on Amazon, it's not the actual Bible. There's stuff in there that they took out and they edited and stuff like that. So I mean, that was a huge point. So like that, the school telling us that the parties switched. I mean, we don't know. There's no factual evidence towards it, but the fact that you so believe that wholeheartedly it blows my mind because
Oh,
what
man,
makes you think,
I'm mad about that.
yeah, about the, yeah.
Things I don't personally know.
Mm-hmm.
But what I definitely can see is even if the Democratic Party back in the day did horrible things and voted against certain things,
Mm-hmm.
which you guys touched upon the fact that, um, you know, they didn't agree with the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say a Democrat signed the Civil Rights Bill of
Mm-hmm.
1964, Lyndon B. Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't, honestly, at this point, I don't care about your party. I don't care I don't care if you're conservative. I don't care if you're
Yeah.
Democrat.
Yeah.
Be for the people.
Yeah.
Get the job done. Get what we need done. Like
I agree.
if you don't, like, let's say you're conservative and you don't agree with gay marriage.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's your belief. That's you. That don't have to do with your neighbors next door.
Exactly.
And that's what I really need. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what not only the Black community but America as a whole needs right now.
Yeah, I think, I mean, Thomas Jefferson and George Washington said that we shouldn't even be having political parties, but we did whatever the fuck we wanted anyway. So I think it's a huge problem that you have a lot of people today that are even our age that feel so strong for either of these parties. Who cares? It doesn't matter what party you're in. At the end of the day, as a politician or a lawmaker, whatever you want to call it, you're supposed to be for the people. So you should get your shit done so it's helping everyone else. And I think that's something a lot of people need to realize and wake up on. So we also touched on Obama, and in the film they said that they felt as though Obama kind of relapsed the America and when it came to race and the Black community and everything like that. So do you agree or disagree with that standpoint? How did you feel on that?
Can I ask how they felt that Obama had regressed?
That's a fantastic question. They said basically in the film they said that they felt Obama really promoted the victimhood and blew that up and made Black people feel as though that they're the victim, and kind of forced that on the people, as what they said. When in reality, like kind of like how we were talking about in the beginning, that that's not the end of the story. That's not the end all be all. So that's how they feel like Obama kind of made race retentions, I think, higher. Let me look at my book. Yo, what is up, everybody? It is your boy JV Kendrick, and if you have not heard about Anchor, it is the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First and foremost, it's free, and who doesn't like that? There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more platforms. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, so why don't you get started? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
When it comes to Obama,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, I'm not sure if I said this in the beginning, but I'll
Mm-hmm.
just say it now as well. But Black people are not victims. We never have been victims. We never will be victims. I don't like the word
Okay.
victim.
Okay.
We
Why do
are
you say that?
we are survivors of the circumstances that we have been given. We are survivors just trying to tell our story.
Okay.
And the thing, I think what I heard your last podcast was Obama could have potentially ended division in this country.
Mm-hmm.
Division didn't start when Obama came into office. And
I agree.
division in this country is not something you can solve in a day.
Mm-hmm.
Division has been a thing in this country since it started. It was founded on division because some of us felt like we should still be with the British, and some of us said, I want to be my own country.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that people think that that Obama was going to be the cure-all for division in this country. Division is a mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Division is not wanting to compromise because you want things to go your way. I think the reason I think Obama was a fantastic president was because he was not perfect. He was not perfect by any means. I want to say that right now. I love I love Uncle Barry, but he was not perfect. But first of all, he was classy. He had a swagger about him. He was funny. He commanded the presence when he went to a room. He was an adult about things. He was not on Twitter at 3 a.m. was tweeting from the bathroom. He wasn't doing all that.
Yeah.
You know? And not only that, people thought that this man was going to come into office and push the Black agenda. And he didn't. And to me, the reason why that was a good thing is America's not all Black. We're 13% of the population. When you're the president of the United States, you are the president of all people. You know? And you know what? People say, oh, he could have ended division. A lot of people who support Trump now did not like this man simply based on the fact that he was Black. They were calling for this man's birth certificate.
Yeah.
Oh, he wasn't born here. He was born in Hawaii. That's a state in this union.
Yeah.
You know, we can't fault Obama for not ending division in this country. That's not his fault. Everybody has to be on board with that because Abraham Lincoln tried to.
Yeah.
Look what happened. He had to send troops to the South because they weren't on board. Hey, we still want slaves. We still want to be racist. We still want to oppress people. Hold them out and all hell broke loose. Lyndon B. Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act in 1964. There wasn't immediate change. People weren't on board for that. So instead, you had politicians who now were trying to be divisive, but trying to be divisive in code. Instead of these Black people, these thugs, people are going to come into your neighborhood and hurt your children and hurt your property values. They're bringing in drugs. You know, they're all in gangs. They're loud. They're not articulate. And the thing is, if we are so concerned with the fact that Obama did not end division in this country, you put a man in office who's divisive as whatever. You can't tell me that the man running this country right now is holding our hand and having a kumbaya fire right now. Yeah. This man is divisive as whatever. Yeah. And he promotes, like I said, he promotes this underbelly of America that's been sitting here kind of waiting to rise up again. So I really don't understand how in the world everybody can be so anti-Obama and say that Trump is doing a better job when it comes to division. Yeah.
I can see where you're coming from with that. I don't disagree at all. When it comes to Obama, I'm not too educated about the when I was a kid, the reason I looked at Obama because one, he's the first Black president. I mean, my family would joke around with me all the time saying I was going to be the president and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So like I looked up to him because to me it showed me that, you know, we're doing something as a people. You know what I'm saying? And it gave me hope. I don't know the specifics of every single thing Obama did right and wrong throughout his presidency when it came to laws and making, you know, rules and stuff with other countries and stuff like that. Because specifically at that time, I just didn't care as a kid. And now I still really don't care too much because I just don't like politics whatsoever. I think it's messy. But I do agree with you at the point. I don't think Obama was the first Black president. So I think it's hard as the first Black president people are still getting used to you being black, especially if they don't really favor you being black.
Mm-hmm.
So there was not a lot of a room for him to make some of the decisions and laws, either for black people or whatever. And at the same time, I think at that time, the Congress or the House was more Republican leaning than Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also pretty hard too, because in Congress, Republicans and Democrats love to play games like they're children, and they love to go back and forth over some stupid shit, which is ridiculous to me, because that's not
what we can agree on.
It's not what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be helping us out as people. So I don't understand that. But I don't know. I think a big problem with, I was talking to this last night with my roommate. I think a lot of people today, they love to chase the ideal of perfection. And when someone else doesn't do something that they like, it's a problem. And well, you're supposed to be this, you're supposed to do this, da 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 da. And I think that's what Obama got a lot. And they wanted him to be some type of perfect guy. Like, I mean, even back in high school when I had class, I'm not going to say his name, but I remember one of my teachers specifically said, well, Obama could have done this, Obama could have done that. Obama's human. I mean, all of them are human. I mean, Trump's human too. Trump is human too. I'm not going to touch on Trump and everything he's doing, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go too in on that. And I'm not defending some of the things that he's doing is right. But at the end of the day, they're making mistakes. I mean, as a human, you're supposed to make fuck ups. That's what you learn from it. That's what being human is about. So I think today our society is too busy on chasing perfection and wanting everyone to be perfect when you can't even be perfect yourself.
Amen.
Being perfect is not sitting in the comments. And I'm not even talking about what happened this past weekend. I'm just talking about in general, roasting people in a post or saying you could do this, you could do that, you suck, blah, blah, blah. That's not perfection. Jesus wouldn't do that. Jesus was perfect. Jesus was not. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He wouldn't be sitting there doing this away in the like. That's so stupid. There's no reason for it. So I think that's a problem. Is there anything else you would like to touch on, Lani? Any other thoughts that you have just before we close here? Anything you want to talk about?
The last thing I wanted to talk about was the discussion about the Breonna Taylor and George Floyd cases. I'm gonna be that person. I'm gonna bring.
Go ahead. I think that's very important.
Because I'm gonna start with George Floyd. This man was killed over a fraudulent $20 bill. And I believe it was mentioned, correct me if I'm wrong, in the last podcast that he died of an overdose.
That's correct. She did say that.
That man did not die of an overdose. We all know that man did not die of an overdose. And that they were trying to make him, quote unquote, comfortable. That did not sit well with me at all. That is not a political matter. That's not something you can have an opinion on. There is video evidence of not one, not two, but 3 to 4 police officers kneeling on this man's neck, back, and buttocks for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. And I actually looked up the cause of death, which was cardiopulmonary arrest, complicity law enforcement, subdual, restraint, and neck compression.
Talk to me.
That man died. They said it wasn't asphyxiation. This man couldn't breathe, and his heart failed. That is not an overdose. It's not like, oh, somebody's kneeling on my neck right now. Well, I'm the drugs in his system, and I'm just going to shut everything down now. Like you said, those officers are human. Those officers made a mistake. But in life, you got to pay for your mistakes.
Most definitely.
Those officers need to go to jail. Officers like that do not need to be on the streets. So this narrative that, oh, the cops were trying to make him comfortable. No, you weren't.
Yeah.
Ain't no being you are not trying to make somebody comfortable laying them down on the ground, and the report said that he had, bruises on his face, on his lip, on his
Yeah.
shoulder that correspond with being handled roughly and thrown on the ground. You kneeled on this man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. When in the world were they trying to make him comfortable?
Yeah.
We watched that man die. Ain't no comfortability in that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be rude on that one. I'm sorry. That was
No.
absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm gonna
No,
be that.
I understand. I think anyone could go. We have our stuff up on YouTube, or it's like us face to face like this. When Anna did say that, I do have to say that I disagree with that. I'm not saying because everything that happened this weekend and backlash. I don't care about any of that. Me personally, I
Before we
did.
go on, is she okay? Has anybody checked in with her? Like, is she okay?
Oh yeah, I had a conversation with her.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a conversation with her. She's completely fine. I mean, we expected this to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen as crazy as it did, but we knew it was going to happen, and I'm happy it happened because this is what sparked a conversation, which needs to be happened. People are uncomfortable to have these conversations and uncomfortable to hear these things, which it's you should be comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's okay to be uncomfortable. That's how you grow. But yeah, I do disagree with that. George Floyd definitely died because someone was kneeling on his neck. So I don't know where the overdose theory came from. I don't know who the hell made that. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I think I may have touched on that in the podcast. If not, then I'll say it now. Cops lie on the reports. I mean, if you look at Meek Mill had to go through that. A cop was lying on his report, and it came out later because these bad cops that are out here, they try to be sneaky and they like to cover stuff up, as you said. So yeah, I definitely disagree with that. And I think she went more in detail into the George Floyd case than she did with the Breonna Taylor case. I could be wrong. Please correct me.
Okay, so I'm gonna go based off of what I know. The part that I heard as a rumor, I will say. So Breonna Taylor. First of all, there is this argument that the police were shooting in self-defense because her boyfriend shot at them first. The police went into the wrong house. It has been proven that that was not the house that they were supposed to go into.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say this because she did touch upon the fact that she is an advocate for gun rights, which I have my own opinion on, but we're not going to get into that today. But you have a right to defend yourself. And it was said that the part that I don't understand is it was said that the police officers knocked at her door, but it's to my understanding that the police officers had a no-knock warrant, meaning they don't have to knock.
Yeah.
They just go in.
Yeah.
So this man was scared because somebody had entered his home and started shooting.
Yeah.
And so what I don't understand is how is that okay? You go into the wrong person's home and expect them not to make no mistake, I am never ever for raising a hand to a police officer, never for retaliating against a police officer, but you went into somebody else's home that you wasn't even supposed to be investigating.
Yeah.
The wrong house. So I do not understand how people can say, well, the police were shooting in self-defense. He was defending his house.
Yeah.
So where's your logic?
Yeah.
And the fact that that girl still don't have justice for her, that does not sit right with my soul, because now this is a whole new level of police brutality. Now it's not, I'm in my car driving somewhere and maybe I was speeding and I've interacted with the police that way. This girl was sleeping.
Yeah.
So now they can just come into my house wrongfully
and not get charged for it. Yeah.
And not get charged for it. And you know what I want to know, to people who think this about the George Floyd case and about the Breonna Taylor case. If the roles were reversed and those police officers were Black, and I don't want to say this, but the victims were white,
Mm-hmm.
would you still say the same thing?
No, they would have been in jail by now.
They'd have been in jail. They'd have been called thugs.
Oh yeah.
It'd have been, oh, you broke into an innocent man's home. That's the same attitude you should have here.
Yeah.
Y'all live with us. Y'all go to school with us. You're friends with us. I sat in the same room and played music with these people.
Mm-hmm.
I sat in AP classes with you, had discussions with you. So I really do not understand where all this, oh, we have to believe our police officers all the time. Not saying that we shouldn't, but sometimes when they're wrong, they're wrong. Or where all this all lives matter nonsense or blue lives matter nonsense is coming from. You've looked me in my eye and had a conversation with me. Mm. You listen to my music. You like the dances that we do. You benefit from the inventions that we've made. You watch us in sporting events. So my question is, why does why are our lives only valued when we do something you like, and then when we do something for us, you act brand new? Mm-hmm. That's the question that I have.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason the whole Blue Lives and the All Lives Matter was created, I mean, we live in a time of negativity. I mean, you can see it, and people love to hate. It's like a sport of hate. If you can create something and be like, like, oh, like I made this sandwich. That's your sandwich is fucking terrible. I hate your fucking sandwich. Ain't this sandwich fucking terrible? I hate it. Man, fuck that sandwich. Like, people love doing that. So, I mean, I think that's why everything with the All Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter happened. You know what? Fuck Black Lives Matter. I'm going to make All Lives Matter. Exactly.
I don't never see an All Lives Matter protest. They don't go do nothing. No, and for everybody with the Blue Lives Matter, I ain't never seen nobody with blue skin. There's no such thing as a blue life. Blue life is being a police officer is a choice. Yeah. I didn't choose to come out like this. I don't get to take this off. I'm not Rachel Dolezal where I can possibly take this off when I feel like it. Yeah, I'm throwing shade at her. Yeah, I'm throwing shade.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I don't know. It's a crazy world we live in. And I mean, we could talk about the stuff that's going on for hours, but I think, I mean, like I said, this is the beginning of change. I mean, talking about this stuff, having conversations on it. You don't have to agree and you don't have to disagree. You can do what you want. I'm sure people are going to find something in this episode to call me and rip me about. I don't know what it is, but I'm sure someone will find something, but fine. That is what it is. But I mean, and I'm going to touch on this, and I'm always say, this is the reason why I started this podcast. Most importantly, so we can create more responders and stop having the reactors. The reactors is what's damaging our society and is what's really fucking everyone over. Like, we need to learn how to respond intelligently and with intellect, and learn how to start up conversations. You don't have to agree with everything in the conversation. You don't have to take in everyone's opinions. That's not, but listening to other people's opinions helps you formulate your own opinions and what you believe in. So, if that's that, you have anything else you want to say, Lani?
Go out and vote. Don't be that person. Go out and vote.
Yeah. I have certain opinions on voting, but go vote, as she said.
Go vote.
Yes. But Lani, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and having this conversation. It was a fantastic conversation. I'm glad we did this. I'm really excited for this to push out.
Had a whole lot of fun.
Yeah. So thank you so much. This is, man, I feel good. This is a good conversation. I can't wait for this to come out. Please, anybody who is watching this, who is in my comments, please let me know. DM me what you think. DM me what I did wrong. I'm excited. I want you to know how you felt about this episode. But thank you again, guys, for watching Power to the People podcast. We give the power of the freedom of speech back to the people. And until next time, take it easy. Stop reacting and start responding. Love y'all. See y'all soon.